Okay, it is time for a beastly dually update. So let's just get into it, shall we? A quick refresher. We have a 1981 Chevy K30 4x4 1-ton dually. It had a 454 4-speed. It's got the Dana 60 in the front. And this is where we're at now on the build. We have the paint done. We had a week where we could squeeze it in the booth and just get it finished and out of the way. I wanted to see it in paint. That's what gets me excited about the build. So we decided just get the paint done. We are going to take this whole truck apart again. We are currently doing rock guard. The reason we're doing that now is because I needed the truck together so that the lines would match. And we also have to do the factory chrome molding that runs all the way down to the fender trim molding. And that all has to be hand cut. So we need the truck together so that those all line up correctly. And we also had to do new door pins and hinges and stuff. So that's going to affect all those lines. So we had to get all that done before we could deal with those little issues. We have a worn Enforcer bumper, an old school bumper from the 90s that I've had laying around since 1997. This came off a 96 Ford. It required a little bit of fabricating for the bumper mounts. And the corners were originally plastic. And they're pretty beat up. So Mr. White is in the middle of just shaping and hand making some new corners. By the time he's done, that will look spectacular. Oh, and yes, like I said, the body will be coming off so that we can drop the Cummins 6-speed standard in there. From what I learned, you can use, I had a few comments on the couple of my previous videos, but you can use the 89 to 93 Cummins transfer case because the diffs were on the same side as the Chevy. And it's a 29 spline, so it bolts right up to the 6-speed standard. So I have to get a cross member and mounts for the motor, have to build a transmission mount because nobody makes one for the 6-speed. And then we'll be building drive shafts because the transfer case theoretically bolts right up. So that is the game plan. And in case somebody wants to ask again, those are 42.5 by 1350 by 22-inch Super Swamper boggers on 22 by 8.5 inch wide DDC wheels that I got from Innovative Motorworks in Calgary. Got the tires from Canadian Light Truck Warehouse. And now we have a deck here. This is an old school deck that was just laying around the field, and I'm a big fan of just using old stuff laying around and bringing it back to life and making it look awesome. Well, yes, the rear is just sitting there. It's not actually bolted on. We just needed to see what kind of room we have for the deck, and I actually, because I have no powertrain in it, there's no engine, the Cummins is going to obviously drop the front end down quite a bit. So I don't know what kind of clearance issues we're going to have, so we'll deal with that later. It may need more lift. So yes, we're just seeing what we have for the deck. This deck is way too long. It's a 10-foot deck, so we are going to shorten it up. But it just landed on it a couple hours ago. And yes, it's a square body, but that's a little too square for my liking. So we either nip that off or we just do something completely different because it's a little bit tweaked. Leaning forward a bit, not acceptable. So we might just build a whole new one there because it has to go over the roof here because there is a rooftop tent going on this thing. There's a beautiful dry box that was handmade by Mr. White's dad going on the back. And we need to be able to fit 2 dirt bikes and an ATV on there. That is the plan for this thing. So we are officially at the have to swap the diff part because I can't get the wheels on until we do that. So now tomorrow I get to go cut a diff out of a truck. We're finally there. What do you think? My first set of 22s. I just love my Chevy Squarebodies. And I am now at a point where I'm ready to make some massive changes with regards to the builds. So I'm selling off a ton of vehicles, because when you have 40 projects laying around and you want to build them all, obviously you're never going to get to them all. No matter how hard the team and I work, cannot get to all of them done. Do not have the budget to build 40 vehicles, so we can only build a couple at a time. So I'm going to blow a pile of vehicles out. We are selling everything and everything we can out of the yard so that we can keep some of these monster builds going. So that is the plan. What's going on? I found a company that actually will make me a custom grill like none other I've been able to find. So there is a plan for a new grill. And there we are. The beastly dually. It's looking pretty beastly. We're close to being able to bolt all the shiny parts on. Not quite there yet. That's my favorite part. Pretty close. By the end of the week, I don't know where it's going to be, but by the end of the week it's going to look better, that's for sure. So that's it for today on the Beastly Dually. You guys have a wonderful day.